Yeah, I think that's right, because we tend to oscillate, right, with enormous level of enthusiasm and ambition, and sometimes we think ahead too much, right? So let's put it a little bit in context of where we are in AI. Thanks to actually the fruit of many decades of progress, I would say that we're in a form where a narrow form of artificial intelligence has begun to work. And what that means is that for very specific tasks and objectives, like let's say classifying what may be in a picture, right? Or being able to do, good but narrow forms of speech recognition, right? We have gotten the technology to be good enough. So that's this narrow form of AI. Bookended to sort of like the more utopian or dystopian discussions that people have, that's what they refer to as artificial general intelligence. That's, by all accounts, many, many decades away. But that speaks about a form of intelligence that is more a kind of human intelligence, where you can solve problems across arbitrary tasks and domains, and you can keep learning. You have a high degree of autonomy in your actions. So that's the other bookend. And in between, we're entering a new phase that we refer to as broad AI, which is how do we go from these very narrow and segmented capabilities that we have today, that are powerful but very narrow, to the ability to do and solve more tasks. Meaning, give me an example. If I learn to perform a task, is it easier for me to perform an adjacent task, something that is close by? Or do every time I have to learn a new task, do I have to start from scratch? Do I have to build a new AI system? I think being able to do this so that we can do broader and broader tasks, that we can partner better with people to complement their expertise, to make it more transparent, is this realm of broad AI that we're entering.
Mm-hmm. And even with the narrow AI that we're into right now, there's a question of responsibility for who develops it, and who should take responsibility for the ethics of it, the guidelines that establish how it should be created. Who should have the responsibility for that? Should it be the engineers? Should it be the regulators down the street? Should it be the consumer that sort of votes with the pocketbook? Where should that debate be happening?
Well, I think it needs to happen. This is a multi-stakeholder process, because at the root of AI is what is its purpose? What are you trying to solve, right? It could not be a discussion just about the raw technology. So if you're doing it in the context of AI for healthcare, you need to be able to operate within the constraints of the healthcare profession, which are there also for good reasons. And so there are many stakeholders that will be there. There will be stakeholders are the physicians, there will be regulators are a part of it, and AI needs to fit into that context, and the responsibility have to come across all of those stakeholders. The creator of it has to take responsibility for what is the algorithm doing. What data, who trains these systems has a lot of implications for the outcome of the system. So I think that where we are entering a phase is that this sort of like narrow discussion about I have a neural network, and here I show you an example that it does a good job classifying this particular task on healthcare or in this other area, and that gets a lot of headlines, needs to move towards the responsible use of AI in professions and within specific industry context. So I think that we gotta go to the point where we're saying, don't talk to me only about the technology. Who are you as a company? What trust do you have, right? What responsibility are you taking into this process? And do you understand the context in which AI is going to be applied? And the principles have to be a set of principles that are based on, one of it is purpose. What are you trying to do with it? At IBM, we take the point of view that AI has to be about augmenting human intelligence, not replacing human intelligence. So purpose is one. Second one has to do with trust. And we basically, our position is, okay, whose data is coming in to train it? We take also the position that the institutions that are providing the data are the owners of that data, or in the case of it's of an individual, that it is their data, and therefore we don't want to use it for other adjacent purposes, but only to what has been claimed for. And how do we provide accountability to the algorithms that have been developed to train it? And the third dimension is skills. How do we also invest in the technology so that it's complementary to the skills of the professionals or the individuals who will be using it?
Right.